He didn't just leave his wife. He sold his soul for a corner office and his boss's bed. On the morning Chioma cooked his favorite egusi soup to celebrate his big promotion, Obina walked in with divorce papers. His expensive agbada still smelled like another woman's perfume. His eyes were colder than the marble floors she once scrubbed for him. Fola Sade understands power. You only understand suffering. Sign this, Chioma. Don't embarrass yourself. Those were his last words to her. Like love was trash, like loyalty meant nothing. He walked away holding his billionaire boss's hand, smiling for cameras, while the woman who paid his school fees stood invisible in the shadows. He thought he married up. He thought he chose power. But what Obina never knew was that the empire he worshipped, Adekunle Trade Empire, wasn't just his boss's company. It belonged to Chioma. $100 million and 51% shares, locked in a trust, her dead father built long before Obina could spell success. He mocked her silence. He never knew it was a strategy. He thought her kindness was weakness. He didn't know it was protection. And while he drank champagne with his new woman, the company's real owner was quietly preparing her comeback. Sometimes, betrayal doesn't destroy a woman, it builds her. Sometimes, the throne you steal already has the queen's name on it. This is not revenge. This is justice. This is karma writing its own ending. Dear viewers, thank you for watching. If you're here without subscribing, it's like watching Chioma's strength fade into nothing. But when you hit that button, you stand with every woman who was betrayed, disrespected, and still rose like the sun. Subscribe now and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Let Chioma know she's not alone in this fight. The small flat in Yaba felt like a prison made of silence and broken dreams. Obina slammed his laptop so hard, the sound cracked through the room. 5 years at Adekunle Trade Empire, Chioma. 5 whole years and still no promotion. His voice shook with anger and pain. Chioma stood frozen in the kitchen, holding a chipped cup of gari, the kind of cup poor people use. Obina, she said softly, just wait small. You are smart, you work hard, your time will come. He laughed, a bitter, ugly laugh. Hard work? Hard work doesn't matter when your boss is a billionaire who only sees dollar signs. Fola Sade notices people who shine, not people who wait like beggars. His words cut deep. Chioma stared at the man who once promised her the world. Now he worshipped money like a god. I remember when all we wanted was this, she whispered. She looked around their tiny apartment. The old furniture from the market, the cracked towels, the wedding photo on the wall where they both smiled like tomorrow was promised. We were happy, Obina. You said success was loving each other. He rubbed his face, guilt flashing in his eyes for just 1 second. I want more for us, Chioma. Don't you get tired of being poor? She put the cup down slowly. Being poor doesn't scare me, Obina. Losing you does. The room went quiet, just pain hanging in the air. Then his phone buzzed. A text lit up the screen. Dinner tomorrow. Just us. F. He grabbed the phone fast. Too fast, but not fast enough. Chioma saw it. F? She asked quietly. Her heart was already breaking. Fola Sade. She wants to talk about my promotion ideas. Dinner or meeting? Both, he snapped. Conversation over. Done. She looked at him. Really looked. The hunger in his eyes. The pride. The greed. This wasn't the Obina she married. Something had changed. Something dark. I hope she sees what I see in you, Chioma said softly. Because I would hate to watch you lose yourself trying to be seen. Obina didn't answer. He turned to the window. Lagos City lights shining in his eyes like false promises. As Chioma cleaned the table, something fell from the top shelf. A sealed brown envelope covered in dust. She picked it up. Her hand shook. Her father's handwriting. For Chioma, do not open until you are ready. Her breath stopped. She hadn't touched this since her father's funeral. Inside was something he said would change everything. But she never believed him. She placed it carefully in the drawer. not knowing it held the truth that would flip their whole world upside down. Behind her, Obinna fixed his tie in the mirror. You see, Chioma, once Folasade promotes me, we'll finally live the life we deserve. She smiled, a sad, knowing smile. I hope it's a life we both still recognize. The words hung heavy, like a warning. That night, long after Obinna fell asleep, Chioma stood by the window staring at that envelope peeking from the drawer. Whatever you're chasing, Obinna, she whispered into the darkness, I think it already belongs to me. Camera flashes exploded like lightning. Obinna stepped out of a shiny black car, fixing his tie as reporters screamed his name. This was it. The Adekunle Trade Empire Charity Gala at Echo Hotel. The night that would change his life forever. And beside him stood Folasade, Billionaire, CEO. The women's magazines called her the Iron Queen. Her beauty was sharp, not soft. Her smile never touched her eyes. Everything about her screamed power, the kind Obinna always wanted but never had. Stay close, Folasade said smoothly. She slipped her arm through his like he belonged to her. Turn, Aight, I want the board to see you as family, not just another worker. He nodded, trying to look calm, but inside his heart was racing. Excitement, fear, temptation, all mixed. Cameras flashed again as they walked into the grand ballroom. Chandeliers sparkled, violins played, money perfumed the air. For the first time in his life, Obinna felt like he mattered. But what he didn't see, what the audience can see, is Chioma at home, watching everything on her cracked phone screen. Her dinner is getting cold, her hands are shaking, her husband is laughing with another woman. That laughter echoed through her small, empty apartment like mockery. The story slows. The pain settles in. Chioma touched his face on the screen with one finger. You got what you wanted, she whispered. But her eyes filled with tears. Love fighting heartbreak. Back at the gala, Folasade raised a glass of champagne. To loyalty and progress, she announced. The crowd cheered. Rich people clapping for themselves. When she leaned close to Obinna, her expensive perfume made him dizzy. You have potential, she whispered in his ear. But potential is nothing without risk. He swallowed hard. What kind of risk? Her eyes locked on his. Confident, dangerous, like a lioness, the kind that separates winners from losers. Their talk stopped when her assistant rushed over. Miss Folasade, the investors are waiting. She turned to Obinna. Dinner tomorrow, private. My driver picks you up at 7. He hesitated, then nodded. Yes, ma'am, Folasade smiled. A smile that wasn't kind. Don't call me ma'am. Call me Folasade. The audience feels it. The line is being crossed. Innocence dying. Later that night, Obinna came home after midnight. The apartment was dark except for the kitchen light. Elena was asleep on the couch, still holding his dinner plate covered with foil. He stood there. Guilt flashed in his eyes, then disappeared just as fast. She will understand, he whispered to himself. She always does. But as he walked away, his eyes caught something. That sealed envelope is sticking out of the drawer. The one Chioma hid. He frowned. What's this? His fingers reached out. Curiosity pulls him. But then Chioma stared. She whispered his name in her sleep. He froze, slowly stepped back. Nothing, he muttered. Just nothing. He didn't know that the envelope would soon decide both their futures. The next morning, Chioma found lipstick on his collar. Not her color. Red. Expensive. The stain glowed like proof of betrayal. She stared at it for a long, long moment. Her heart was pounding in her ears like drums. So this is what ambition looks like now, she whispered. She folded his shirt neatly. No yelling, no crying, just cold acceptance. If he's eating at Power's table, she said quietly, he'll soon choke on it. Dear friends, if this story touches your heart, don't just watch and leave. Hit subscribe, hit like, tell us in the comments where you're from. Every click is a voice for women who've been betrayed but refuse to stay broken. Let's stand together. A door slammed so hard the walls shook. Obina's voice followed, sharp, final, heartless. I'm done, Chioma. I can't live like this anymore. Papers flew everywhere. A photo frame crashed to the floor. Glass shattered between them like their marriage. Chioma stood frozen, holding the breakfast tray she had made for him. Done? She whispered. Her voice was trembling. What do you mean done? His jaw was tight. I've tried. But this life isn't for me. Folasade believes in me. She sees what I can become. You just hold me back. Her heart stopped. Hold you back? Obina, I've supported you through everything. He cut her off. Threw a thick stack of papers on the table. Divorce papers. Sign them. The camera stays on her face. Shock, pain, confusion, all at once. The audience feels every heartbeat. Divorce? She repeated. The word tasted like poison. After everything we built, after all the nights I waited for you to come home? Obina didn't look at her. He picked up his jacket. His voice is ice cold. Folasade offered me a new job, a new life. She's Chioma's breath caught in her throat. She's what? Your boss or your new wife? He finally looked at her. No guilt, no shame, just pride. Both. The world stopped. Even the clock stopped ticking. Chioma dropped to her knees, gathering the broken photo frame. Their wedding picture. Her face reflected in the cracked glass. You're leaving me for her? Obina sighed like he was bored. She's everything you're not, Chioma. Powerful, confident, a woman who knows what she wants. Tears hit the floor. And what did I do wrong? Love you too much? He turned his back. You just didn't keep up. The storm inside her raged. But then, the scene softens. The camera closes on her, shaking hands, touching the divorce papers. Her anger fades to numbness. She finally stood up, fragile but standing. You think power makes you free? She said quietly. But when power owns you, you're just another slave. He stopped at the door, smirked. You'll understand when you're alone. The door closed. Final, cruel. The sound echoed through the empty apartment like a grave closing. He was gone. The camera moves across the room. Silent chaos. Papers everywhere. Cold coffee. A lipstick stain on his cup. Chioma sank onto the couch. Her body is shaking, but through the pain, her eyes found something, that sealed envelope. Picking from the drawer, her father's handwriting. Her father's promise. She reached for it, then stopped halfway. Not yet, she whispered through tears. Not until I'm ready. They rolled home, filled with heavy silence. The quiet before the storm. Outside, a car engine roared. Chioma ran to the window. Obina was driving away. In the passenger seat sat Folasade, wearing Chioma's favorite necklace, the one Obina said he lost. Chioma's breath died in her chest. Her world shattered into a million pieces. He took everything, she whispered, but he doesn't know what I still have. Her eyes moved back to the envelope. Her voice eyes barely there. If the past built that company, then maybe the past can take it back. Thunder cracked outside like the sky was breaking apart. Chioma woke up on the couch. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. For 1 second, she forgot. Then she saw the divorce papers on the table. The empty signature line stared at her like an enemy. Her chest hurt. He's really gone, she whispered. Lightning flashed, and her eyes caught that old envelope again. The one with her father's handwriting. For Chioma, do not open until you are ready. The moment intensifies. She grabs it with shaking fingers. Well, Dad, she said, voice cracking. I think I'm ready now. She tore it open. Inside was a letter written by hand and a small bronze key. Her father's voice seemed to speak through the words. My dearest Chioma, if you are reading this, I am with the ancestors now, but my work still lives. Our legacy still breathes. Adekunle Trade Empire was not built by one man. Folasade's dead husband, Robert Adekunle, and I were partners, brothers. We built that company from one container of palm oil in 1985. When he died, his wife changed everything. She erased my name, bribed government officials, took control, buried the truth like it never existed. But she never found what I hid, a trust fund, maturing on your 30th birthday, worth $100 million. With it comes 51% ownership of the company. Chioma, Adekunle Trade Empire is yours. It always was. The words blurred as her tears fell on the paper. She clutched it to her chest, breathing hard. Mine? She whispered. Dad, what do you mean by mine? She looked around her small, broken apartment, peeling paint, dead phone, empty ring finger, and the truth hit her like lightning. Her father's company, the same company that Obinna just left her for. The camera slows down. Reflection scene. Chioma sits on the edge of the couch, the letter trembling in her hands. Memories flood back. Her father is working late into the night, the way he always said, Chioma, never let greed own your heart. Build with love, it lasts longer. Now she understood. Her father didn't leave her powerless. He left her prepared. The storm outside became soft rain, tapping on the window like a message from heaven. Chioma walked to her father's old wooden desk in the corner. She put the bronze key in the bottom drawer. Click. Inside were files, documents, a black notebook labeled Chinonso Trust Holdings. Every page was proof, contracts, share certificates, bank papers, her father's handwriting, her name on every single line. She gasped, covered her mouth with both hands. The truth was real. The empire Obinna betrayed her for was built with her blood. Slowly, the sadness in her eyes turned to fire. She whispered, You left me for your boss, Obinna, but your boss works for me. The audience feels the shift. Pain becoming power. She folded the letter carefully and held it against her heart. You wanted power, she said softly, and I was the power all along. Just then, a firm knock on the door. She froze. Through the peephole stood Barrister Okafor, her father's old lawyer, holding a briefcase and looking serious. Chioma, he called gently, it's time we talk about your inheritance. Chioma's voice came out quiet but strong. Then maybe it's time the world remembers who really built the Adekunle Trade Empire. Music blasted. Laughter bounced off golden walls. The air smelled like expensive perfume and lies. Chioma stood frozen at the entrance of the glittering ballroom at Echo Hotel. She held an invitation that came 2 days ago. No name on it, but the gold letter said everything. Adekunle Trade Empire Annual Gala, hosted by Fola Sade and Obinna Reid. Her husband's name is next to his boss's name, like they were equals, like she never existed. Her breath caught. The intensity explodes. Cameras flashed as she stepped inside. People turned and whispered. The betrayal now had a face, a stage. Obinna stood there, handsome in his expensive agbada, confident, smiling for the world. His arm wrapped around Fola Sade like she was a prize. Reporters shouted questions. Obinna, is it true you're engaged to Miss Fola Sade? He smiled, that fake humble smile. We are building the future of Nigerian business together. Everything else will follow. Chioma's hands shook around her small purse. She wanted to scream, to run, to disappear into the floor. But instead, she took a deep breath and stepped forward. Her eyes burned, but her back was straight. She didn't come to beg. She came to see the people who destroyed her life. Fola Sade saw her first. Well, she said, her voice cutting through the noise like a knife. I wasn't expecting visitors from the past. Obinna turned. All the blood drained from his face. Chioma, The audience sees it, the crack in his armor. For the first time, he looks small. Don't stop because of me, Chioma said softly, but her voice cut deep. I just came to congratulate the happy couple. A few guests gasped. Some pretended to sip their drinks and look away. Folasade smiled, the kind of smile that hides poison. You always had grace, Chioma. Too bad it didn't save your marriage. People laughed. Cruel, ugly laughter. A waiter passed with champagne. Chioma took a glass even though her hands trembled. Her eyes lifted to the giant banner behind the stage. Adekunle Trade Empire, building tomorrow. And beneath it, barely visible under the spotlight, a faded painted over logo. Chinonso and Adekunle Trade Partners. She froze. Her father's name. He hadn't been completely erased, just hidden, buried. The camera slows. Reflection moment. Chioma touched the edge of her glass. A memory flashed. Her father's voice. Truth doesn't die when you paint over it, Chioma. It just waits for the right moment to shine again. Tears tried to come, but she blinked them away. Hard. When she looked at Obina again, her pain had become something else. Cold fury. You always said Folasade understood ambition, she said. I hope she understands loyalty too. You need it soon. Folasade's smile cracked. Excuse me. Chioma put her untouched glass on the table and turned to leave. Enjoy your empire while it lasts. The crowd's whispers followed her, judging, wondering, confused. Outside, the night air was cool and clean. She took off her heels and walked barefoot toward the street. City lights glittered like broken promises. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Barrister Okafor. We need to meet now. Folasade is planning a merger to erase your father's name forever. Time is running out. Chioma stared at the screen. The reflection of the ballroom was still glowing in her eyes like fire. She whispered, Then it's time to stop hiding. Her hand gripped the envelope with her papers. Wind blew her hair as she looked back at the tall building that once held her father's dream. You took my husband, Folasade, she said under her breath. But I'm taking back everything else. If you've made it this far, you're part of Chioma's army now. Don't leave without subscribing. Don't let this message fade. Click that button. Drop a comment. Tell us you believe in justice. Every voice matters. The boardroom at Adekunle Trade Empire headquarters was full of powerful people in expensive suits. Folasade stood at the big table wearing her finest iro and buba, coral beads around her neck. Obina was beside her in a sharp agbada, looking like he owned the world. Today, Folasade announced loudly, we finalized the merger with Obasanjo International. This makes me the sole owner of... The doors burst open. Bang! Everyone turned. Chioma walked in, dressed in her mother's white lace. Her grandmother's coral beads shine on her neck. She looked like royalty, like an ancestor had sent her. Gasps filled the room. Obina stood up fast. His face was pale. Chioma, what are you doing here? She raised one hand. Calm, powerful. Sit down, Obina. I'm not here for you. Barrister Okafor followed behind her with a thick briefcase. Madam Folasade, he said firmly, may I present the rightful majority shareholder of this company? Folasade laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. I was nervous. This is a business meeting, not a village drama. Security, she snapped her fingers. Check your founding documents. Chioma's voice cut like a machete. Article 7, Section 3. Upon the death of the founding partner, shares transfer to the bloodline at age 30. She placed the bronze key on the table. It landed with a heavy thunk. Everyone stared. My father was Chief Chinonso, your husband's equal partner, not his boy, not his assistant, his partner. Silence swallowed the room. Okafor started passing documents around the table. Copies for everyone. Original partnership agreement, witnessed in 1985, sealed and legal. Miss Chioma owns 51% controlling shares as of 3 days ago, her 30th birthday. Board members grab the papers, eyes wide, mouths open. They read fast. One older man nodded slowly. These are real. Folasade's face went white as chalk. This is impossible. I destroyed those records. You destroyed copies, Chioma said calmly. My father kept the originals at our family shrine, protected by our ancestors, where you could never touch them. She turned to Obinna, her eyes cold as ice. You left me for my employee, Obinna. Not your boss, my employee. He stumbled backward, hit his chair, almost fell. His whole world is crashing down. Folasade stood up screaming. You think you can walk in here? And I don't think. Chioma's voice boomed, louder than she'd ever spoken. I know. Effective immediately, I am the CEO of this company. You, Folasade, are fired for fraud and stealing. She looked at Obinna. And you have 1 hour to pack your things and leave. Security stepped forward. 2 big men in black suits. They grabbed Folasade's arms. She screamed and fought. This isn't over. You'll regret this. Oh, but it is over, Chioma said quietly. The snake that swallowed what wasn't hers has finally choked. She sat down in the CEO chair. Her father's bronze key was in her hand. She touched it like a prayer. Then she spoke to the board, half in Igbo, half in English. My father taught me that wealth should build families, not destroy them. This company will now honor both founders, Chinonso and Adekunle, together, like it should have always been. The board members clapped, slow at first, then louder. Obinna stood in the corner, small, broken, ashamed. His dreams turned to ash. Final scene. Workers outside put up a new sign, Chinonso Adekunle Trade Empire. Both names shine in the sun. Chioma stood on the office balcony overlooking Lagos. Sunset painted the sky orange and gold. She whispered, They say the forgotten daughter cannot inherit. But my people know better. What the ancestors bless, no human can curse. A proverb says, the child who says his mother will not sleep, that child will not sleep either. Obinna chose greed. He thought he was climbing up, but he was really falling. Folasade stole what wasn't hers. She painted over the truth. But truth is like the sun. You can cover it with clouds, but it always comes back. And Chioma, she didn't seek revenge. She just took back what was always hers. Power doesn't come from stealing someone else's crown. Real power comes from knowing you are the crown. The ancestors were watching. Justice was served. And the forgotten daughter? She was never forgotten. She was just waiting for her time. Subscribe if you believe good always wins. Drop a comment saying, I stand with Chioma. Let's build an army of people who believe in justice. Click that button now. Don't just watch. Be part of the movement. Moral lesson. Listen carefully. When you betray someone who loved you, you don't just lose them, you lose yourself. Obinna wanted power so badly, he threw away the one person who truly saw him. He climbed on his wife's back to reach a throne that wasn't even real. He thought money would make him happy, but money without loyalty is just expensive loneliness. Folasade thought she could erase the past by painting over it, but the truth always finds light. You can't build an empire on lies and expect it to stand forever. What you take without honor will be taken from you without mercy. And Chioma, her lesson is the most powerful. Silence is not weakness. Patience is not defeat. Sometimes, the strongest thing a woman can do is wait. Wait for the truth to reveal itself. Wait for justice to arrive. Wait for her time to come. She didn't beg, didn't scream, didn't break. She just remembered who she was. Daughter of Chief Chinonso, heir to an empire, protected by her ancestors. Sometimes people will betray you, use you, throw you away like garbage. But if you know your worth, if you remember where you come from, no betrayal can destroy you. You are not what they did to you. You are who you choose to become after. The ancestors teach us. what is yours will always find you. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to beg for it. Just stay true. Stay strong. And when the time is right, everything that belongs to you will bow at your feet. That is the lesson. That is the truth. That is justice.